Toyota's CEO has said that people who advocate for an electric vehicle future, they just don't know what they're talking about. He said, whenever I hear this, I wonder, do they really understand the big picture? Well, it turns out he's a genius. He says that actually the future is more about converting your existing car from a gasoline-powered vehicle into either a hydrogen-powered vehicle or an electric one. But we must start by converting your car. That's the solution. Interesting. Would this actually work? Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Welcome to all the new subscribers. Welcome back, everyone else. The CEO of Toyota has a new plan. He wants to convert old cars to EVs or hydrogen-powered vehicles. Toyota has a new proposal to fight global emissions, and it's an interesting one. Now, the strange thing about all of this is, even though Toyota is proposing this plan, they don't actually sell an electric vehicle conversion kit or a hydrogen-powered vehicle conversion kit either. They haven't actually said when they're going to sell these, or if they will, ever. Even if all the world's new vehicles are replaced by EVs someday, the Toyota Motor Corporation CEO says it will do little to cut emissions from the hundreds of millions of fuel-burning vehicles already on the road. Now, obviously, he doesn't believe that those vehicles will become obsolete one day, say 10 or 15 years from now, which is what actually happens. People stop driving really old vehicles. There's a small number of them that they don't, but by and large, they actually do. They end up on the scrap heap. However, there are millions of car buffs with their beloved vintage rides. And he says, if only new cars are electrified, we're not going to be able to achieve carbon neutrality. We also have to consider vehicle units in operation. Toyota has proposed a solution: carbon neutral conversions. Take an old car and make it green by dropping in an all-electric or hybrid powertrain. It's as easy as that. Is it really? Anyhow, Toyota floated his vision last week at the Tokyo Auto Salon Tuner Show, unveiling two carbon neutral, fun to drive concept vehicles derived from the legendary Toyota AE86 hot hatch. Now, many people are saying this is sacrilege. To actually take an engine out of the AE86 and replace it with electric propulsion just should not ever be done. That's what some people are saying. Anyhow, Toyota doesn't agree. They've done it. The AE86 BEV concept ditches its gasoline engine for a battery and a motor. It doesn't have gears to shift either, unless you want to put in there the Lexus artificial pretend manual transmission. Its AE86 H2 concept counterpart drops its gasoline power plant for a hydrogen burning one. The first step, the makeover is called to mind the DeLorean retrofitting featured in Back to the Future. Dabbling with conversions is just a first step in a long development process, the world's largest automaker says. However, Toyota says its commitment to a multi-pronged fight against carbon emissions in an era when many competitors are focused on EVs is the only way to go, and that they're right and everyone else is wrong. But no, actually, that's sort of what they said. There's a competition to announce electric vehicles as quickly as possible now because of regulation, Toyota said. But industry sentiment, he insisted, is shifting toward Toyota's strategy of offering a widest possible array of powertrains. Widest possible. That's what Toyota said. Is that mass manufacturing, or is that more like boutique manufacturing? That's what that sounds like to me. He said, the atmosphere is changing. There are many people supporting us. I am talking about reality, the user's reality and the market reality, Toyota said. The silent majority is speaking up. Now, I haven't heard them personally, but I must be deaf, because clearly if he says they are, they must be. Now, Toyota claims that they're not anti-EV, and in 2030, they will sell 3.5 million plug-in hybrids and EVs. Now, for context, they currently sell nearly 10 million vehicles every single year, meaning Toyota plans on only 35% of its vehicle sales, if it has this many, in 2030 to be either electric or plug-in hybrids. Moreover, Toyota confirmed at the Auto Salon that his company is working on a new dedicated EV platform to strengthen its portfolio and competitiveness. It's admitted that its current vehicle is not cost competitive, the BZ4X. Toyota, though, is also a full lineup automaker, they say, with a sizable presence in many markets such as Southeast Asia, Africa, and Latin America that are nowhere close to adopting the strict emissions rules being pushed in places such as Europe. Basically, Toyota is just saying, well, if we lose our market share in Europe, the US, Canada, and China, that's okay. We can still sell millions of EVs outside of those areas. Now, keep in mind, 80% of Toyota's current sales are in those three markets. 80%. If they lose 80% market share and don't somehow gain miraculous gas-powered share elsewhere, that would mean they go from selling 10 million cars per year to 2 million. Now, maybe that's not realistic. Maybe they can go from selling 10 million a year to 3.5 million. That's possible. But keep in mind, that would mean Toyota would be verging on the edge of bankruptcy. Why do I say that? We're talking about the most indebted company in the history of the automotive industry. But actually, it's the most indebted company on the planet. $188 billion US dollars of debt. Now, you need to service that debt. And they cannot do so selling only 3.5 million cars a year at their current profit margins. They would need to triple their profit margins, literally triple them, just to be able to pay their debt obligations. Now, Toyota said that General Motors and Volkswagen are simply not at their level. He said this: they don't have hybrids, they don't have a global market, they're not full lineup. It's a different competition. It's not the same players. Now, as far as I'm aware, actually it is. Toyota does compete with Volkswagen and General Motors. Someone should maybe update them on that, because it's true. Now, he goes on to say that many automakers have targeted a 100% shift to EVs somewhere between 2030 or up to 2040 at the absolute latest. He said, though, but the reality is that we cannot achieve carbon neutrality by 2050 simply by shifting all new car sales to EVs. It's important to provide options for cars that are already owned. So he's suggesting that a reality check is needed. Everyone else is wrong. The only manufacturer getting it right is Toyota, because, well, everyone else has said, pretty much everyone else, 98% of the other automakers have said, yes, EVs are the future. We will have to, at some point, be EV only, because that's what the market wants. That is what is being regulated for good reason, because emissions from diesel and gasoline-powered cars cause cancer and many other issues, many other bad health issues. They really do. So what Toyota proposes is that you'll take your gasoline-powered car to them, and they'll retrofit it and turn it into an EV or into a hydrogen-powered vehicle. Now, is this realistic? Is this feasible? And is it logical? Well, I would say, considering the way EVs are being built now, using structural battery packs, no, it's not. I mean, look at the competition, right? The companies that make EVs that are basically made from a gasoline-powered car, they're huge compromisers. They're massively heavier than their counterparts, which are made as electric vehicles from the ground up. That's the first problem. The weight. The structure isn't made for the car to be an EV. Yes, you can turn it into one, but it's actually not really ideal for those reasons I've just outlined. They're also not as safe. If you change a vehicle from a gasoline-powered vehicle to an EV, there's lots of structural differences in the car. So yes, you can do this with older cars, but it's really not perfect. The other thing is, I've made videos on the cost to actually transform your car to an EV. Now, it's awesome, but it's not viable unless you're talking about a car that's worth at least $150,000, because to convert your car properly to an electric car actually costs about $70,000 US dollars at a minimum. $70,000 US dollars at a minimum. I'm pretty sure about 95% plus of people who own a gasoline-powered car wouldn't be willing to pay that, because they can simply go buy an EV for less money than that, which is far less compromised and a far better product. Personally, I think the CEO of Toyota is completely delusional. It's sort of like losing the race and you spit the dummy. You spit the dummy, you lost the race, you don't say to your competition, well done, you won the race. Let's get ready for round 2 and start getting to work. Instead, they're living in denial, pretending they haven't lost the race, when actually the race is finished. And Toyota, well, they came last. Now, that's just me predicting the future, obviously. Based on Toyota's current production levels of EVs, I'm pretty sure it's fair to say in 2022, they did come last. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.